All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel where I show you how I analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable return or entries to help you all become better traders. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. All right, let's get this thing on the road, shall we? All right, so we got a few things that we're looking at first thing this morning. Dollars having a little bit of a pullback yesterday. Bitcoin, Ethereum, SPX, everything was ripping faces off, going straight to the upside. You can see SPX is pulling back a little bit here at last week's high. That's right. You have a bullish engulfing weekly candle on the S&P 500, and today is Tuesday. So we're actually looking for this thing to top out here. So we will see if it will. We got Bitcoin up here into trend line resistance, and that trend line, folks, goes all the way back to the all-time highs. And we're looking at Ethereum right here at 8-hour resistance. Let me get this situated here. So here's my fear on Ethereum as far as looking for a short setup. I do believe that it is eventually going to be a short. Right over here is your day's high. So you can see that it's way up there. You are at 8-hour resistance. We can go show you that real quick. Here is 8-hour resistance. Just beautifully right there. So, I mean, will it hold here? Can it hold here? Absolutely. Will it? We won't know until it either does or doesn't. We are an hour away from the New York Open. It does look like to me that it's trying to break out and maybe potentially go up and make a new high of day. If it does that, I won't like it so much for a short until it finds legitimate resistance. Not a whole lot of resistance up there either once you get above that. So we can go over here and show you that currently on the daily, you are trading above daily resistance and below this daily resistance. So you're kind of like in the middle of nowhere here. So taking the short off of 8-hour resistance, I have obviously made money doing that in the past. Will it hold right now? We will see. I would much rather be doing this at a daily level, but as long as the S&P 500 keeps melting like this, then this will likely find resistance, as will this. All right. So on Bitcoin, you can see that on the 5-minute time frame, you are banging back and forth between daily resistance and monthly support. For anybody that's new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Right there's monthly support, that line there, and then obvious daily resistance is going to be right there. So you see how Bitcoin is actually into a daily level, but the problem being it's already pulled back very far away from that daily level. That daily level would have been the area for the entry. So basically what I was wanting to do on Bitcoin, wait for it to run the high of day and then look to short it. The S&P 500, though, being above last week's high, you can see this. This is a liquidation break trade where you take out last week's high and then you see almost instant bearishness come back into the market. If I pull up the point of control, you're going to see that it is currently right in there. So it could bounce here, right? It could bounce here. There is more buying than selling going on Bitcoin. I don't know about the S&P 500, but I have looked at the numbers, and the bids are much thicker than the sells today. But that can also help the sell side trade because if everybody's buying at the high of day, which typically that's where retail's buying, retail has probably been buying this thing since they woke up. Since the London session started, everybody's been buying right in here or selling. So you've gotten 50 million trades taking place right in this area. I would guarantee you that if you started to fall, that would be a drastic measure or a drastic move to the downside based solely on the fact that everybody's buying today. So there's a lot of stop losses in there. Where would you have to go to start triggering them? That's a good question. On the daily candle itself on Bitcoin, you're not like a very big daily candle. And then if you go out to the weekly time, yesterday was, to be fair, but today not so much. And if you go out to the weekly here, you can see that you are still trading inside of last week's candle. Now, my bullish case for Bitcoin coming into this week was simple. We discussed it in the channel members only live stream, that if we held 18,809, which was last week's open, then we could indeed see bullish expansion to the upside. I did post a public tweet about it as well. As long as you hold the week open, then you can look for the expansion to the upside, because volatility has compressed, and that has been compressing for a little while. In fact, you are on the lows on the volatility indicator. So basically what I was saying is, if you take out the open of last week, then you would see volatility expand as price was heading lower, to basically complete the trend that we've seen lately, based on dollar strength. But if this were to hold and you started to get volatility expansion as price is moving up, that would be very bullish. But here's my thing as well. I would have rather seen us trading today for my bullish case. I would have much rather seen us trading today here while we do the live streaming session for the public, trading at this level. This is where I wanted to be a buyer. The fact that we're trading well away from it, being the beginning of the week, is not typically what you want to see for bullish continuation. Now, once again, this can happen. It doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it happens most of the time. Your weekly range expansion, the first couple days of the week, is usually the fake out move. So if you are moving to the upside Monday, Tuesday, if you find the high and then you roll over for the dump, and we'll see if that happens or not. Doesn't always happen, guys. I've seen it happen. Most of the time it happens, but you will occasionally have those outliers where something opens and then just goes one direction for the entire week. All right? It's not every day. It's about probabilities. I seen a nice little tweet today saying that people haven't been talking about bullish divergence or bearish divergence on the dollar anymore since it quit happening, or since it didn't work. That's because nobody believes in probabilities. Nobody. if because the bearish divergence didn't work for the month of October or for the month of September, you quit believing in divergences, then you're doing this wrong, right? It's about probabilities, and everything works in trading, just not all the time. But it does appear that the S&P 500 is pulling back a little bit lower. So let's get Ethereum on the intraday. So let's get Ethereum pulled back over here on the intraday time frame. You can see here that I did take another short on USD JPY. I'm in the camp that believes the dollar is just doing a pullback for right now, and the dollar will be in pullback mode until it finds support. Once it finds support, I do believe you're going to see it rally again. And here's the reason. The dollar is ripping everybody's faces off to the upside because of two main reasons. One, it is the reserve currency of the world. It is a flight to safety. And two, as long as the Fed are hiking interest rates, that makes the dollar stronger. So you have everybody going to the dollar simply because it's a flight to safety. And then on the other hand, you have the Fed hiking rates. So when we see the dollar top out, it probably isn't going to be because of bearish divergence or some technical aspect. When you have an asset moving basically because of fundamental reasons, that asset is likely to continue until you get a rumor that the Fed is going to slow down the rate at which they are hiking rates, the pace that is, or if they were to do a complete 180 or just something along that line. All right. So if the Fed is going to continue to be data driven or data dependent, then they're likely going to keep doing what they have been doing until they see PCE numbers come down and CPI numbers come down. If those numbers are barely moving, the Fed's going to continue to be hawkish. The dollar's going to continue to go up. S&P 500 and everything else is going to continue to fall. So you are in a Fed-driven market right now, and it's based solely on what they're doing, what they're going to continue to do. Now, I was looking for the lows to be in if we got 3 consecutive lower CPI prints. We have gotten two. We get another one next month or this month, around the 13th or something. We'll get another CPI print, and I want it to be lower still. But if it's just one tenth of a percentage point lower, then yeah, it could be topping out, but it's not what everybody as investors wants to see. Everybody as investors wants to see inflation start dropping drastically to show to the world or to show to the marketplace that what the Fed has been doing has been working. All right. So, but other than that, I got a short here on the USD JPY because I do believe that, since the dollar has been pulling back a couple days, this thing hasn't been. It's just been trading up here in resistance. Today, I took the short trade simply after it ran the high of day. So this short on USD JPY was at daily resistance, and it ran the high of day. So this is a liquidation break play again, and we'll see here in a minute if it's right or wrong. I can't see into the future, so I have no clue if it will work, but it does look good. Here is your old high of day right there sitting at 144.917. You can see here we traded up. We smoked the high of day, meaning we stopped out any early shorts. If you took the short from the Asian session last night, anywhere up until 8 o'clock in the morning, you likely have been stopped out because you likely had your stop above the day's high, right? So I waited for that to happen. The other way, the best way to trade this same exact setup is to be a retest of support buyer, and then you target that liquidity pool. That's generally how I take 99% of my entries, right? I would have been a buyer down here at 3 a.m. in the morning based on intraday support, but I was asleep, so I couldn't take that entry. But when price pushed down here to intraday support at the London session open, since we know the London session usually makes the lower high of day, you could have determined that since you were trading around the lows, that it was possibly going to be the low of day. You take the long trade and you target this because you know that is the liquidity. That is where the market tends to head all the time. It loves to smoke old daily highs and old daily lows. We got Ethereum pushing up right here. If Ethereum pushes up, like I said, it makes a fresh daily high. I don't know if I'm going to like the trade, ladies and gentlemen, because I am short USD JPY right now. And if that would be taking the opposite side of the trade. So it would simply be like I'm short USD JPY and short Ethereum, that one of them is likely not going to work, right? Because if I'm looking to short this based solely on, the dollar pulling back and looking for that support, then I don't typically want to be short Ethereum. But I do want to be looking for it to find resistance if I do indeed believe that the overall trend is going to continue. So hopefully you got that. It was a lot of stuff to say, but it's just basically telling you what my bias is. And right now my bias is the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. And since, that's just the way we're going to be trading it. When will I stop being bearish on Bitcoin? Well, like I said, I'm not typically bearish on it as long as last week's open remains intact. I do believe that you could see bullish expansion, and that would coincide with a dollar pullback and a lot of other things. But the problem is finding that perfect place for that entry. You have a lot of levels right here: daily resistance, monthly support, descending trend line resistance. So, right here's a good spot for it to be potentially the high. So we'll watch it on an hourly closing basis. All right. You can see here on your hourly, you're making higher supports. So what I assume would happen today is you're going to see a spike to the upside. You're going to see a fresh high of day, and how the market reacts once that occurs, then we'll make our decision on whether or not we plan on taking a short on Bitcoin or a short on Ethereum. I am still currently short on Bitcoin on Bitcoin on the USDT No, sorry, the USDC side of the platform on Bitget. I'm still holding that little short, and I also am holding a short on the Coin M futures side of the Bitget platform. So those will be stopped out if Bitcoin continues to make its push. And today is pretty much the end. If today's going to be, if this week is going to be a bearish week and this is going to be the high of the week, then I want to see a fresh daily high and then an instant rejection. I do not want to see price playing around up there on the highs, because that will tell me that basically what I want to happen isn't happening, but instead you're seeing bullish continuation. Now, in the side of the Trade Talk Discord, we were looking to be buyers of Bitcoin at the beginning of the week, but we needed that test of the weekly open and we did not get it. So, you know what I mean? You missed it. It's over. There's nothing I can do about it. Right now, the trade is working out here. You can see that I am in a perfect 2-to-1 risk to reward, risking $308.65. I am up $608. So that is a 2-to-1 risk to reward, and I am coming into intraday support that was formed at 3 o'clock in the morning. So this is the good place to take profits if you were lucky enough to enter the trade. Obviously, getting it a top tick would have happened if I wasn't paying attention to too much other crap at the same time. But that is a decent trade. I mean, all we're trying to do is come in here every single day and consistently pull out money from the market, throw it in your bank account, and do it again the next day if possible. But we wait on high probable setups, and this was one this morning. I wasn't going to miss it again. Last week, I tried to get short this thing twice, and both times I lost money. One of the times, though, it was not a full-size position because the trend is very strong to the upside, and trying to take a short means that I am inherently trying to pick the top of the market, which doesn't work for most retail traders. It works quite often for us because we know what we're doing. There's the difference. We've been doing this for a very long time. We know what's up. So we don't look for liquidation break trades all the time. We like to get the retest, our buy support or sell resistance in the direction of the trend. Those are the best trades and the ones that work out the most. Also, the ones that pay you the most money, because not only will you get a nice day trade, you will also be setting in a potential trending position that could last for weeks and occasionally months. And those are the ones that make the money. All right, so I honestly do believe that this is going to continue to go lower if these things continue to go higher. But I am going to set a take profit at 144.691. So the way you do this is simple. You just want to buy back 2/3 or a half of that position. So since I have 4 lots on the trade, I will simply buy back 3 lots just like this. All right, it's not exactly 2/3. I understand that, but that's okay. And I want to set a limit order, and I want it to trigger around 144.690. I don't know if I'm going to get it here. So I will set this like this, and then if price pushes down, it will take me out of the trade by 2/3 of my position, roughly. And then I can move my stop to break even. And if this wants to trend lower for multiple days, I will be positioned perfectly with a swing trade position still. All right? With a swing trade position. Because if you're taking a swing trade, your stops are naturally going to be wider, right? So your position sizing is naturally going to be smaller. But if you do it like this, then you can basically be in decent size position when looking to take those swing trades. And we just got filled on the order, so I'll just bring that down like that, and boom, there you go. So roughly made about $450 or $400 on the trade. We still got $200 left on it. So, like I said, if this wants to continue down and down and down for many, many days, then I will be positioned nicely for that. All right. Now would be a good time to insert ads. That's what YouTube said. All right. So there is a link in the description for Bitget. That is the trading platform that I use for cryptos only. The reason I use that platform is because they have a license in the US and they are also the cheapest fees than any other crypto exchange in the world. So if you want to be a trader, then I suggest you trade on the platform that has the cheapest fees. There's a link in the description. Make sure you use code XTSC. That is X-Ray Tango Sierra Charlie. All right, moving on. So yeah, Ethereum pushing up. It's normal. This is what we expect or we're expecting. That's the reason why I couldn't take the short there, right? I couldn't take the short there. Also, if we look at Bitcoin over here, you're going to see something there. All right, so if I get rid of monthly support or daily resistance, I'll just put it back. And I put this line over here and show you 4-hour supply. You're going to see that that's where we turned around last week, right? Last week we had a spike right back up to the upside. Supply was hit. Supply was hit, and then you rolled over. Now we're back there again. So that's not typically bearish. That's not typically bearish. And since you're at the lows, the market lows, the range lows, it's not typically bearish. So I did want to see, like if I wanted to short it, I did want to see a push up, but I didn't want to see a big push up like that. But we'll see what happens. There's last week's high on the S&P 500, so that makes it, as long as you're trading above it, well, not really. You're already a bullish engulfing. But anyways, a bullish engulfing is typically looked at for bullish continuation. You are currently pushing back up on the USD JPY trade. If you did want to take it, you could watch intraday resistance at 144.815. You could potentially get short there. Throw your stop above the high of day. Since you've already purged the high of day liquidity and you have made that expansion lower, if you get back up there again, then it's likely to be a bullish day. And you don't want to be in the short any longer. Or you could take it at hourly supply right now, which is what you're testing right now. Also, daily res right there. So you could potentially take the short right there. Throw the stop above the day high. Look for it to trade lower for the rest of the day and into tomorrow. Ethereum pushing up right into 5-minute supply here. We're going to see if it does push up and make a high of day. And if it does push up there and get a bearish reaction, I will throw a short position on it. But remember, this is not bearish. It looks more bullish than bearish. And you're in the middle of nowheresville here on Ethereum. And you're in the middle of daily res and daily res. There's no candle closes in this box. In this box. So if this candle today closes above this, you will have a breakout. You will have a breakout. Let me pull this up full screen here so I can show you this trend line. It is just coming from the all-time high. Tagged right there. And there you are. This only works off of logarithmic. If you put on logarithmic, then it doesn't work. You are a long way away. See? The trend line moves all the way up there. So trend lines are very subjective. They're subjective in the way they are drawn. They are subjective in the way that they are used. They're just a very subjective measure. I suggest that you use objective price points for your entries. Objective resistance and objective support. Nobody can say that this is not monthly support because it is. Right? It's not because I said it is. It's because the market said it is. And it is. Can support be broken? Of course. Of course it can. But at least if you can get that much of your analysis situated, then you can start making better entries. Remember, where's a good place to look for shorts? The high of day or daily resistance. This is daily resistance right there. So you can get rid of all these. All these are useless. That's the only one that matters. Daily resistance. The market said it is, not me. That is an objective level. Objective trading is the best trading, or objective analysis, I should say, is the best analysis that you can use. Here's what it looks like on the 5-minute. Nice purge of the liquidity, or the high of day, making a fresh daily high and then instantly rolling over. That's what we want to see kind of play out here. But like I said, these two trades currently are the same. Like, you can't short one and short the other. It's like opposite. If you are bearish the dollar, then you're typically bullish Ethereum. So you would have been looking to be a buyer at support, but the support that it formed was very, very narrow and at the high of day. So like, this would have been support right into resistance there. But you did last hour close above inside or intraday resistance here. This is the 8-hour, but you can see that hourly close right there was resistance. It held here, it held here, it held here, it held here. This is the first time you both closed an hourly above. So that means that you have successfully broken resistance, intraday resistance. These are typically when you would stop looking for shorts, or if you did take the short and your stop is up there, go ahead and exit that position, because price is telling you that there's a likelihood of running the daily high. All right? That's why we make rules and we stick to those rules. I do have the 8-hour resistance level on the Bitget platform as well. That price is 1351 spot 55, so only off by a few pennies. And monthly support is going to be pretty close to the same on Mr. Bitcoin as well. You did also take out intraday resistance, being the hourly closure right here last hour. Okay? You did take it out. Now, we do know traps exist, and this could be one. But what we want to see first is we want to see a run above today's high. It doesn't mean we'll get it. It could roll over right here and just dump right in our faces, and we will miss the position. But everything right now is saying, hold your wad. Hold your wad. Don't do nothing just yet. Also, you're 30 minutes or 25 minutes away from the open. All right, 25 minutes away from the open. So we're going to give it a little bit of time. So while we're giving it a little bit of time here, let's answer some questions. Good mornings. What's up, everybody? What's up? Yo. Good morning. So happy to be here. Thank you for being here, Mr. Edom. Mr. Ian, Biddy, since shorting Bitcoin since yesterday. Well, I'm sorry. If you've been shorting Bitcoin since yesterday, you've been losing money since yesterday, and that's never fun. Let price be your guide. It's difficult. I understand trading isn't easy. If it was, everybody would be doing it and everybody would be rich. Since nobody is rich and, a lot of people are doing it, means it is hard. It is not easy to get this stuff. Because even if you do have a really good strategy that has a really high hit rate, you have to be very, very patient and all these other things, right? It's also you versus you. So not easy to get it. The reason I took profits there, like I said, it was intraday support. If I am wrong on market direction, then this will likely come back up and stop me out, right? I make profitable trades all the time, meanwhile being wrong on direction, because the strategy has rules and I stick to those rules. I can't know where the market's going to go. It's impossible for me to see into the future. So I designed a strategy that allows me to get in, get out, get in, get out. And I operate inside of the daily ranges. I get to take money here, a little bit of there, a little bit over there, take a loss here. But overall, it's profitable in the long term. Good mornings. Good mornings. Yeah, not fun. I guarantee it. Shorting since yesterday? Nope, not fun. Looks like a big day today, potentially. Let's go, David. Looking at the chart and see no trade since London. Anyone seeing better for now? There wasn't a trade on Bitcoin since London. But there is typically a trade in the London session. It's just, it wasn't an easy one to make. All right. So you're posting up here right under the last quarter's close. So that could potentially be resistance, right? And it acted like it was going to be resistance all day yesterday. But right in here is where you had your London session open. So, yeah, I agree. There wasn't really a setup there. I would have never been wanting to buy it in front of a potential big resistance level. Never do I want to do that. Now, if the skies were clear up here and it was forming like that, then yeah, you could have watched to be a buyer at supply or demand, but you can see you did not test it. You came really close, but you didn't get there. And that was also well before. That was during the Asian session, not the London session. The London session, this is what happened during the London session. So I guess the test would have been the London session. Well, no, it wasn't. There's your, yeah, not a setup, right? Not a setup. I agree with you. Nothing there. S&P 500, we do have a potential setup if it stays under last week's high. We do have a potential setup here because, this could be the high of the week forming right now. Mr. Bitcoin, let's pull up the point of control on it. You can see how point of control is roughly right around the resistance level. Yeah, and it's mostly buying, right? Mostly buying happening. This morning, today, a lot of people buying at $20,000 and around $20,000. It's insane to me. There's no buying here, right? Could it be a buy? Yeah, I mean, you could absolutely rip a 2-to-1 risk to reward out of that off of support, right? Not up here, but down there you could have target the high of day. I just don't like buying the top of the daily range, right? Ever. I don't ever want to be a buyer at the top of the daily range. And this indicator is a good indicator because it shows you the entire daily range right there. And you can see how the point of control is up near the top. Like if you put a Fibonacci retracement, your midpoint would be roughly in here. Of being a buyer above the midpoint, not the best strategy. Not the best. So I do think that, with all of that going on, maybe this thing does reject here. A lot of volume being thrown down right there. Not much up in here. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think you're going to see a spring of that high. I think you're going to get above that. But the S&P 500 is definitely struggling. Let's see if I don't think there is any intraday support here. There isn't. This thing has just been going in one direction for the last 2 days. Straight freaking up with hardly any pullbacks at all. That is a big move, man. Just straight up. And then this is what it looks like on SPY. So yesterday when we did the members only live stream, I was basically saying, I don't want to see it get above yesterday's high. Well, here's where we are now. That's why, right? Because if you do get above yesterday's high, you're going to see a rip to the upside. So many stops getting stopped out. Boom, and up you go. So yeah, I didn't want to see yesterday's high get taken out, and it did. So here we are today. Here we are today. And remember, if this continues to be a short, like if we continue to see this roll over, this is likely to find support and likely to run today's high. So not going to look very bearish. But we'll see what happens at the open. We got 15 minutes left. Ethereum here trying to push up. The reason I'm more focusing on Ethereum instead of Bitcoin is just simply because it's up more than Bitcoin. So if I'm looking to take the short, I would rather short the asset that is up more because there's more meat on the bone for the potential move lower. But we also know that, we don't typically want to short a bullish asset or an asset that has really bullish order flow at the beginning of the week. You have a new week, a new month, and a new quarter. So a lot of portfolio adjustment going on yesterday, and will continue for the next several weeks potentially. People adjusting their portfolios, getting ready for the end of the year, tax season, all of that good stuff. And sometimes you will see reversals occur in Q4. Not always, but sometimes you will. And if a market's moving down, a reversal means it's going to the upside. But we'll see what happens. We're watching it together. We're prepared. Don't do that. Don't start that garbage. If you wanted to make a documentary on YouTube, you could simply use that music and in the background and make yourself sound really, really like documentary-ish. It's a good song though. I like it. It's not literally a soundtrack. It's a playlist that I put together. The name of that song is called Ghosting, and the composer or the artist is Christopher Mo Dittelvesen. I can't say that. I don't know why. It's Icelandic or something maybe. Christopher Mo, Ditlevsen, Dittelvesen. Something like that. You could find it on YouTube. It's from Epidemic Sound, so it's not hard to find. Good morning, Mr. Tom. Good morning, traders. Good morning, Cassidy. Good morning, boys. Run MNTNS. Welcome to the prop firm. Every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. we do a live stream. Every Sunday at 11. And the link will be dropped inside of the YouTube community page. And you also have access to all of the previous live streams that have been done for the community. They are all inside of the community tab. He's everyone's favorite. I might be a couple people's favorite. Morning, can you look at Tesla? Yeah, let's look at it over here. It's probably been ripping faces off as well. I mean, it's just, if the NASDAQ and everything else is going up. Well, to be honest, it did not. Yesterday it had a down day, and the S&P 500 had a big up day yesterday. So yesterday, Tesla sold off. You are gapping up a little bit today. I would assume that if the S&P 500 remains bullish for the rest of the day, you're going to see, that's the high of day right there on Ethereum. Let's get Bitcoin up there as well. I would assume that you'll probably see Tesla have a little bit of a bullish day here. Oh, damn it. As well. Pre-market's gapping up a little bit. Yesterday was a nasty candle, and it dropped below both of the daily supports that we were watching. Well, this ain't a daily support. There is the next daily support lower, and that's where you've bounced from. All right? Like I said, I don't never know if price is ever going to bounce at these levels. I don't know that. My job isn't to even determine that. My job is just to be able to find the levels where price bounces, because those are the areas where you can take your trades and have better success, right? And you can see yesterday, I mean, it didn't test it perfectly, but it did come down there, and now you're up on the day a little bit. So, I mean, yeah, everything's going to be determined based on what happens today and into tomorrow. Because even though we're not going to be live all the entire session, you know, a lot of these things could find a high today and roll over because it is the beginning of the week. But if you continue to be bullish, you got to break out on your hands. You got to wait for a support test to get long. But we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. Ethereum pushing up right in there. Yeah, we want to also leave this at resistance. That's daily resistance. So you have a daily resistance level on Bitcoin and a high of day there. So the reason I'm trying to stay away from Bitcoin is because I'll have to close out my short position that I already hold on it. You know what I mean? And if I were to take the short trade on Bitcoin instead of Ethereum, once you push up above the high of day and reverse, then my entry would be in this area, whereas your all's entry would be there. So I guess I could close out the short, but let me see here. Yeah, I mean, it's not far from stopping that trade out anyways. I'm not talking about the short that I took for the CPI print. I'm talking about the short that we took last Tuesday here. Remember when we got short there last Tuesday? Well, if this continues to go higher, it's going to stop that trade out. Now, it was a very profitable trade there, but I will have lost all of the unrealized P&L. Right? So this doesn't look bearish to me, not even in the slightest. When you have a nasty move like that and no downside continuation, it tells you a story. It tells you what's going on. What's going on is there's more people buying than selling at these levels. So your sellers are exhausted, price goes the opposite direction. But naturally, professional sellers don't sell the low range. They just don't. There's no trade to take down here outside of being a buyer. That is literally it. You can be a seller at the lows. You can't be a seller at the lows. You can if you're closing short positions, but that still makes you a buyer. I mean, it's just, yeah. The higher price goes, that's what entices sellers to show back up. And a lot of stuff going on right here because of the trend line, daily resistance, you got all that. So we are interested in it for taking that potential short, but we got to see that rejection once making a fresh daily high. That's what we got to see first. But Tesla, I mean, if Tesla holds support here, watch 240.55. All right. Mountains. Okay. Run mountains. Gotcha. Appreciate it. It filled the two gaps yesterday from back in July. Any thoughts? Yeah. This is the area where I'd watch it. So basically, if I want to be a buyer of Tesla, then what happens today, I want to see it pull back sometime in the next week or so, back down to 240.55. And I definitely want to see that level hold as support. All right, I want to see that level hold as support. And then I could be a buyer there looking for it to potentially go up and retest this swing high. Or if you just wanted to be a buyer because you like Tesla and you want to hold the shares, you could potentially do that as well. But Tesla is one of the ones that has held up best in this bear market. So that tells me that, you know, if the dollar continues to be bullish and the markets continue to be bearish, Tesla being down only 39%, you know, that's not as good as the S&P 500, but it's better than most things, right? Better than Netflix and stuff like that. So that means there's plenty of potential for this to be, you know, the favorite asset to sell. And plus, it's also a high beta stock. I mean, each time they do a split, that it takes that beta down a little bit, but it's a very highly speculated asset. It's more speculative driven than it is, you know, people buying it because Tesla makes a ton of money. I mean, Tesla does do good, no doubt about it, and they aren't just a car company. I understand all that. I'm an owner of Tesla. I like Tesla, the stock. I like the company. So it's just, I don't know what your investment objectives are. So I can tell you what I would do as a day trader, but that might not be what you want to know. Yeah. But, like I said, if the bear market lows are in now, then yeah, you want to be a buyer. You want to be a buyer on pullbacks. But nobody knows if that's going to be the case or not, right? We don't know if the bear market lows are in. And if the Fed keeps doing what they've been doing, then I would say that you're probably going to see more downside on this. But, you could get a run back up to 283. That's going to be supply. And then you have old support right there, right? The close of that bearish candle, retest, bounce, break. So that's going to be the first region of potential resistance. And then the second region of potential resistance would be supply at 283.08. So we'll see what it do. Couple big days here. And you're still trading at last week's high. This is daily resistance here. So you want to see the close today lower than 37.17 if you are a seller. If you're not a seller, you cannot buy it here. Wait for it to retest this. This is the first place you could potentially be a buyer on the S&P. And then support is 35.92. Also an area where you could be a buyer in the future. Not today, but if it comes back. A lot of times, when the markets are really volatile like this, you don't get a whole lot of retest resumption plays. You just don't. I mean, market moving up here, right? Traded well into supply and then boom, down. You had one day to be a seller here, and that was on this day, right? And that's not a very big move. I don't know if I could have been a seller there, but naturally people were because it went lower. And then the next test would have been up there. You can see you didn't get there. And then you just got resumption straight down. Straight down. And until the Fed changes their monetary policy, you're going to see more of the same. And please believe me when I say that, right? There's a reason. It's because it's true. Like when I was telling people to be a seller on Bitcoin last November because of the Fed, nobody believed me then either. So I know I want to be a buyer on Bitcoin. I want to see it go higher. But until the Fed changes, until they at least become a little bit more dovish, I would assume the trend is going to continue. And that trend is down. That's why we're sellers still. But you could potentially be a buyer at the weekly open also, if this does retrace Monday and Tuesday's gains. You can see down here, this is why I took profits, man. Because I could be being a seller could be the wrong side of the trade. It could be a buyer down here. You got 2 minutes left until the market opens. And right now what we're trying to wait on, since we closed above intraday resistance, is a run above the daily high. A run above the daily high. Then we want to see a rejection. That's where you would put your short entry on or at. But yeah, the S&P 500 is still, it could definitely run above that. That's nothing for it to move. You have seen some bearishness here, but it isn't like it ain't bearishness. This is just a pullback at best intraday. Heath, do you take support or resistance breaks? No, I am not a breakout. Nope. See, The problem with learning to trade is there's so many strategies and so many different ways that you can approach the markets. What you need to do is you need to find a way that works and then stick with that. Stick with that until it doesn't work any longer. And the only way you'll know that is by your equity curve. I only trade the way that I trade because I have data, and I have data that shows me that I am profitable over time. So I will continue to trade this way until that no longer exists. Then maybe I'll look to be a breakout trader. A lot of your breakout traders, they lose a lot of money because typically when the breakout traders are getting into positions, I am exiting positions. Like they're buying my bags, typically. And that's just no way to trade. But there's a lot of people that only trade breakouts. So like right now, people are getting long Bitcoin because it is breaking out of a long-term resistance trend line. But here's the thing. I can't be a trader of that breakout. I can be a buyer of a retest of the breakout, right? I can do that. But I can't buy the breakout because I've seen too many times the market make a fresh high and then instantly roll over. So you're literally buying the very top of the daily range. That's never a good thing. And the same for the sell side, right? They take a short when you break down and make a fresh daily low. They get short. It does work. I'm not saying that it never works. I've seen people do it, but I could never consistently make money doing that. I would lose more than I would win over time. Like today, I might hit a nice breakdown trade. I take a short at the low of day, and then it just keeps going another, 5 or 10%. Well, hell yeah, you just made a lot of money today. Then you try that exact same trade tomorrow, and it goes down, makes a fresh daily low, and then boom, that was the low of day. It turns right around and goes right back up and makes a brand new day high, right? That's what happens more often than not. But, some people may be successful at it. You can be successful in this game by just throwing darts at a dartboard. I mean, it's been proven. It's about risk management. Risk management and sticking to your plan. Even when you make money or lose money, you got to stick to the plan. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to pull up Ethereum over here on the Bitget exchange. I'll just let if it's going to continue to be a bullish breakout, because that's what you currently have right now, then that short trade that we took last Tuesday will be stopped out. It's fine. We already made a lot of money off that trade. So, but if it doesn't, like if it makes a fresh daily high and then rolls over, then that trade will still be situated perfectly. And then I will take a new position on Ethereum. The recycled dude is outside. S&P 500 pushing up. You got the open. It's 9:33. You're 3 minutes into it. I remember how I said this would be nothing for the S&P to do that. There you go. Right now, fresh daily high. So what I want to see is a rejection here, and I don't want to see it come back. You did not liquidate the high on Ethereum. You did not liquidate the high on Bitcoin just yet. So I mean, I don't. I would rather see them all do the same thing at the same time. Be in lockstep with one another. Since you haven't done it yet, you have to wait. That has to occur. It has to. If you take the short now, you're not going to have anything to throw your risk against. By allowing a fresh daily high to happen, by watching to see if price gets above it, or if it stays under it, then that gives you an area to put your risk. In order for that to happen, we're probably going to need to see the S&P 500 get back above the high and push a little bit deeper, rejecting currently the high of day, and still yet no trade. You could take this trade because you have something to throw your stop against, and it did liquidate the daily high. Just kind of sitting here waiting a little bit. I probably won't like the short if the S&P 500 does make another good little push, enough to get this up and this up, because it could mean that we're going to see bullish continuation and not a liquidation break. Liquidation break trades are not they're not the best trades to take, because you're literally trying to call the very top tick of the market. And if you're doing it against the intraday trend. But this is the time to do it, right? If it makes a high and then you get short and you get stopped out, then you just have to look at it as it's probably going to continue to be bullish for the rest of the day. But that's what we would do. We wait for Ethereum to liquidate the high, which it's getting ready to do right now. It is going more than likely to liquidate the high, because, like I said, S&P did another little push. There you go. So that's where you would take the short trade. On the Bitget exchange, you did not liquidate the high of day. You would just you would already have a limit sell sitting at the high of day. Throw a stop loss, roughly 1-2%, whatever you're risking. Try to get it up a little bit higher naturally. But right there it is. I did not get filled because it did not push there on the Bitget exchange. S&P 500 still trading above the previous day's high. This doesn't look the best in the world, but I have seen it take 10-15 minutes before you finally get the initial move. Bitcoin did make a fresh daily high. What do we got there? We got 201.60, and then we got 201.60 there, 39.50. So you did liquidate the high by 20 cents on Coinbase. 20 cents. So yeah. Could one market short into Ethereum right now and throw your stop above the high? You could. Will it work? I don't know. But you just have to ask yourself, are you willing to risk the money to see if the trade will be right or not? So that is a potential. I wish the S&P 500 was under the high of day. I don't like it staying up there, but this looks decent. I like this. It just didn't happen on the Bitget exchange. You didn't liquidate the high on Ethereum. On Bitget. But now you're starting to, put in a little bit there. You're roughly around the midpoint. So this is pushing still. So yeah, let's let this 5-minute candle close, and hopefully the next 5-minute candle doesn't come in super bearish. Hopefully we get another little stab up into like 1356, and then we could throw on a short position just to see, because we do know that the dollar is into support. The dollar is into support. Here, I have to do it on this one, unfortunately. The dollar's into support. It did make a lower stab there, but if I put on the daily 21, it's not coming up. What is this? All right, so we'll go get the daily 21 on the daily this way. So there's the daily 21 coming in roughly at around 111.32. So we do know that there is going to be potential support here intraday. So we'll see what happens, right? There's your daily 21 coming in roughly around there. So this doesn't look good for bearishness on the S&P and on Ethereum. We want to see this happen, but then this hour, we want this to be a trap, right? We want to see it get back up around 111 to 111.20, 111.10, somewhere in there. Get back above this, and then slowly just start to curve around for the rest of the day. But this doesn't look good. This looks like you're going to see downside continuation on the dollar, which is okay. If you close under the 21, it's okay because traps exist. And essentially what we're looking at here is for a close under support and also under the 21 would look bearish, right? People would start to get more bearish on this asset. You're still above the 50, so this is an area where you're going to see a little bit of mockery play out, right? A little bit of manipulation going on because they're going to want everybody to think that it's going to go lower and then eventually get back above all of it. And we are expecting the trend to continue, and you are at somewhat of a little bit of support as far as trend line resistance. Daily resistance is going to be there. Wherever today closes, that will also be daily resistance moving forward. So the trade on the dollar might not be today. The short on Ethereum might not be today. It might be tomorrow. Or into the London session tomorrow. But where we close today will determine what we're looking for tomorrow. But we do know that, the dollar does look like it's trying to push. So one could just argue that the reason you're getting this push here is going to be, oh, look at that. S&P 500 pushed well above the high of day. And you still didn't get that on the Bitget exchange. The Bitget exchange still doing nothing. Still nothing. This doesn't look good. This probably not going to be looking to take that trade on Ethereum. I would need to see this because this isn't really bearish. Not really a bearish reaction here. And the first 15 of the minutes of the day is where you got the most volume. The first 15 minutes, so 9:30 to 9:45, that's where you're going to see the majority of the volume. The last bit of the volume for the day. If you're not getting that bearish reaction, then it's going to look a lot like you're going to see bullish continuation. So it's up to you whether you take the trade or not. I did not get filled on that push. 1359.46 is where my sell limit is setting. So I did not get filled. And if this continues to play out like that, I will close that limit order. Where would you become a buyer again on Tesla for a hodl position? Where you closed yesterday. That's where I would be a buyer. If it held intraday, not just put a buy order there and hope for the best. I would need to see that level actually acting as support. Do you still use ATR for your stop loss? No, I don't use ATR. I just use the way that I do this strategy is I try to risk only 1 to 2%. And I have to calculate the stop, right? I have to calculate it each time. But, I've already got it laid out pretty decent, so I know basically what I can do and what I can't do just off the top of my head. But my stop loss width will be, this could be a fake out move on the S&P 500. because the dollar is pushing up. That position was just exited. But this could be yen strength. I mean, yen weakness, sorry. Yeah, that's nice right there. That's what I want to see. So getting short SPX would be roughly right around in here. Though your stop loss, there's nothing really for me to give you a stop loss here. But that's a nice reaction there. Decisions. This play, like I said earlier, is still viable. If you close today's candle above 144.744, the short on this will be no longer. This is the level where it has to close under today in order for me to still like this to the downside. If you close above resistance today, I won't like it. So this is starting to shape out, and I did not get filled on that push. It really sucks when that happens, but that's part of trading, man. But this is still pushing higher. Not really seeing a whole lot of volume come in right now, which you would want to see. So this is probably going to be a buying opportunity. Unless the S&P 500 turns around real quick, this little stab lower in here is going to look more like a buying opportunity. Where did it go to? Right down to hourly support. So, all right, yeah, I mean, it's going to look like this is a buying opportunity. You just tagged intraday support. I wouldn't be shorting Ethereum. If you did take the short, go ahead and close that position. There's a high likelihood this thing's going to rip your face off here in about 5 seconds. See how the SPY or the S&P AX is just continuously. This was the fresh high of day, then a new fresh high of day, then a new fresh high of day, new fresh high of day. Down to support right there. People were sitting there with bids. You're probably going to see this thing rip up to 1364 here in a minute. And I will not take the short. In fact, since I just seen it test intraday support, I am closing that limit order. This trade is likely going to work out after it took me out of the position. That's what you get when you move your stop too early. Let's see how this acts now. It's getting really volatile. Let's get rid of this since we've already made money on that one. And then the next level to watch. Decisions, because this pushed up really strong. Now you're starting to get that move up. The XY finding support at trend line support. But, I mean, it looks like it wants to go lower. This stream is lit. People learn a thing or two in process. Kiss the like button. Yeah, if y'all don't mind, smash that like button. Maybe even share the stream on your YouTube feeds or your whatever, Twitter feeds. Let people know. You can really learn how to trade here. And you don't have to pay for nothing. If you just want to donate, then obviously you can come to the Discord. Ask questions 24/7 in there. So, I mean, this is a conundrum because you are making fresh daily highs on this. You did here and got an instant reaction. So, with what we would have to ask ourselves as traders is, do we think that this is the real move? I honestly do, because your point of control is here. Remember when we were trading down, I basically said this could be a place where people will look to be a buyer. You can clearly see that they did that. And then right there is intraday support. So is the dollar just getting a slight bounce here? Is it going to continue to roll over? We don't know. But what we do know is that it is in an area where games are going to start to be played, right? A lot of manipulations and stuff will start to transpire. Here you go. So yeah, I mean, I would probably stay away from the short today, because it didn't do what we wanted to see, right? You remember how it was last Tuesday when we took the short, how we got the fresh high of day. I threw in the short order, boom, was in there, and never really did it come into question whether it was going to stop me out or not, because it made that high, and though it did trade up around that high for an hour or so, it ultimately just fell, took a dump. This is a little bit different than that, because you made a fresh high and then a new high and then a new high and then a new high. So, I mean, it's not the same scenario at all. At all. Now, obviously, these things don't trade hand in hand with one another, but we'll see. So what you could probably do here, I mean, it would be a big trade, like you're going to risk all of this, is if you do break down and close back under this 1351, you could wait for a retest of it, get short, throw your stop above the high of day, and that would look like you would have to get all the way down to the last quarter's close in order to make a 2-to-1. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it will work, right? Either. It's just where you would have to get. Yeah, that's just a 1.5. So I would just leave it alone. The setup wasn't beautiful. It wasn't perfect. S&P 500 is still screaming to the upside. So people getting badly hurt there that tried to short the high a day. And as long as people that took that trade are getting hurt, then you typically want to stay on the sidelines. But there is that too. I mean, if it can't get back up there, then that'll be your decision. I have exited the limit order. I didn't like it, so I didn't get filled. I would have gotten filled, but I just didn't. The Bitget high of day is 1359.46. So about $1.50 higher on this than on the Bitget. But on the Bitget exchange, it did not get up there. It fell short at 1358.96 is where this candle got to. I think you're going to see another high of day on Ethereum and Bitcoin. Probably here shortly. But I can't buy that either. I just can't do anything with it. I'll just have to wait till tomorrow. And then hopefully a setup will present itself tomorrow. Which I know it will. These setups happen all the time. Let's see if we got a change on volume here. No, not really. $71,000 bid to 58,000 sell. The buyers they're in this thing today. They're in this thing today. We got a 4-hour support down there. 71,000 bid to 58,000 sell. The buyers they're in this thing today. We got a 4-hour support down there. 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 We got a 4- That's daily support there. So that's what the dollar's struggling with. 4-hour support. If it holds, then this will be this. You could sell this. Looking for the short is on the right side of the trend, right? When does that 8-hour close? 2 hours and 5 minutes. You got 2 hours and 5 minutes on Ethereum. You kind of want to see a closure happen under 1351 because that's kind of like your last bit of resistance. And it's an 8-hour time frame, so it's not the daily. Remember, on the daily, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, just nowhere. Here's resistance, there's resistance. I mean, you do got these wicks and stuff, but wicks are generally targets. They're not things to take trades based off of. They're generally targets. You're usually taking trades to target those wicks. So watch the 8-hour close. You want to see that definitely close bearish if you want to take a short. And then on the 1 hour, you got to get under 1348.19 on a closing basis. You got 3 minutes left on this candle on the hour. And it's going to be a big risk taking the short, especially knowing that there's a pretty good chance you're going to make a fresh high of day. Because the S&P 500 is still just right up there in them highs. Have you ask yourself, do I feel lucky, punk? I'm asking where you personally would buy Tesla again. Yeah, that's where I would, like, I trade that. This is the way that I trade. So what would have to happen on Tesla? All right, so yesterday closed is support. It's support until you get a daily closure under it. You did get a slight bounce because you hit it and then gapped up today. So this is the price where I'd be watching to be a buyer. But I would watch that on an intraday basis, like watch the hourly time frame, because I don't watch the 5-minute time frame. I put the 5-minute time frame on for the streams, but I watch the hourlies. I only look at hourly candles. I do not look at 5-minute candles. So I would watch this price down here. If you get back down there and you can't close under it, then that's where I'd want to be a buyer. Basically, what you're looking at is you're looking at an impulse to the downside, this, right? So you kind of want to see it trade up a little bit higher, and then in the next 3 or 4 days, potentially get back down there and see if it holds. If it does, you could be a buyer. Fresh high of day on the S&P 500. Ethereum and Bitcoin's getting ready to make a new high on the day. Like, I only really pay attention to the last 3 days of price action in order to get my bias or the order flow, right? And you can clearly see right now on the DXY, the last 3 days, order flow is bearish. But eventually we're expecting it to find support because of the overall daily trend. And also, I mean, you got bonds coming off. If I go over here and put the 10-year up, you're going to see that they're coming off. And just the way that they were screaming to the upside, all right, just straight up. This is when that Fed speaker, the woman Fed speaker, started talking about all that stuff. And then, man, just for the next weeks just straight up. So, I mean, it's normal for this to come off a little bit. You can't just go straight up forever. You're going to have pullbacks and stuff. This is probably why you're finding a little bit of a pullback on the dollar. But here's the thing. I mean, if this thing finds support where it currently is trying to do, if this holds, the dollar will eventually or ultimately find that support. And then, yeah, it's going to be looking for more upside. We know traps exist, and today's probably going to be that day that you get the trap. You're going to close under support, probably close under the 21, and then this will be support wherever it closes. And then the next day, you want to see if you get up above this. If you do, then you'll look to be a buyer around that 111, 269 in the next 3 to 4 days. But we got to see how today closes first and foremost. It did come off pretty hard because your volatility was peaking up there. So this thing could slowly come down a little bit more. I mean, you're almost oversold on Stokes on the dollar. You're not quite to the 50 on the RSI yet. So the short trade, if the dollar finds support, might not be today. You might get a better setup tomorrow or the next day. And that's if and only if the dollar finds support. If the dollar keeps going lower and lower and lower, then these things are going to continue to go higher, higher, and higher. Just to me, Bitcoin, that does not look bearish. That looks bullish. How long have we been trading on the lows without being able to break down? Right? This was the loss of support right there. That's when we lost support. We lost support on the daily time frame, and that was the last support to lose. Well, not true. We had to close the weekly under. There is a big fresh high of day. There is a stop run galore. Dollar pushing, making fresh lows on the day. Oh, good thing we didn't take that short. Yeah. See, I didn't like the S&P 500. It was throwing a hint to like, yeah, this isn't going to be a liquidation break. The S&P 500 kept making fresh high after fresh high after fresh high. And still is. Still is. Maybe now you could take this chance. Throw your stop above the daily high and just hope for the best. Let's see here. I'll go in with you here. I'll just market order in. Let me make sure that I'm not going into this with a ton of leverage. I want to make sure because I don't like it. I think you're probably going to see higher highs, but we'll go ahead and do it. Throw the short in there, and then the stop is going to be on the Bitget platform 1365. 1366.20, let's call it. But it's really not my favorite at all. I don't like it. This thing's going to have to stop soon. Otherwise, you're probably just going to see fresh high after fresh high. But I'm in it, so we'll see what happens. I'll stay live for a couple more minutes just to see if this thing starts to roll over or not. The dollar could be just making its one last final stab lower for today, but this doesn't look like, that looks nasty, man. That doesn't look pretty. Bitcoin making 2 fresh high of days. Ethereum did too on Coinbase's exchange, but so like this will be it, right? If you're going to see downside continuation today, you should not see price trending above 2160.39 on Bitcoin. If you do, you know, if you start closing candles above that price, even 5-minute candles, then you're probably on the wrong side of the trade, and there's no point in eating a whole stop. But this is just crazy. You went up a whole nother % from where the high of day was. You're up almost 3% on the S&P 500. That's a big day. Big, strong, bullish day. SPY's up 2.79%. You can see the sellers coming in up here, though. See how that's starting to get longer? First bit of selling came in here. Next bit of selling coming in up there. Dollar still pushing lower. And pushing. And pushing. And pushing. There goes Bitcoin. See, that's what you don't want to see, right? For the liquidation, you want it to do that and then go. Give it about 10 more minutes. I don't think I've seen another support on the dollar either. I mean, you're under the 4-hour support. Oh, no, there's another 4-hour support there. Man, that's pushing it. Yeah, to be fair, you could get a bounce here on the dollar. So, we'll see, though. Bitcoin trading higher. ETH getting a little bit of volatility here. A lot of volume coming in on the SPY up here at 376. That's why you're getting a lot of volume coming in here, right there. Yesterday, or not yesterday, just whenever day that was, is open. I mean, you could see it coming in. Look at that. Just a little bit longer, your point of control is going to migrate to the top of the day. So this might work out. This trade might work out. We'll see. We'll see. I definitely don't love it. And I didn't know that 4-hour support was there. So it is just a fluke. Yeah. That was just a fluke, man. That is luck. If it works out, it was just straight luck. But you're getting a lot more volume coming in, roughly around 376. People are just sitting there with the sell orders. This was a nice move on the day too. So anybody who bought the S&P 500 yesterday or the SPY yesterday made a lot of money today. So naturally, they want to take profits. So this selling coming in doesn't have to be shorts. It could just simply be profit taking. What I want to see Ethereum do now is just drop down under 1348. If that occurs, then I will feel a lot better about that short position. And just risking the high up there, 1360. What was it, 1366? But this isn't what I like, because it definitely wasn't a liquidation break. The liquidation already occurred. So when you make fresh daily high after fresh daily high, that's typically, you're just looking at continuation. the liquidation occurs, then you want to see it roll over. And you did multiples there. That was your daily high. So you broke it there. Then you had a little bit of a bearish reaction and up. A lot of hype, I guess. People think the dollar has rolled over. And to be fair, it does look like it might have. But we also know that support, if the Fed keeps doing what they're doing, will likely be bought. This is going to be a buying opportunity on the dollar. Which means that we are looking for a selling opportunity on risk. It's just, Jesus, man. The last 2 days have been bullish. Not really the bounce you want to see now, but it is bouncing. So let's pull up the SPX over here and just look at the last 2 days. That's a big move, man. Like, you're trading well above last week's high now. Well above it. That's last week's high. I can show you that by going to the weekly time frame. There you go. So last week was a close under support. It's a trap. So Bitcoin already did that. Bitcoin already made the weekly trap, and that's why Sunday we were looking to buy the weekly open. It just didn't go down there for us to buy it. Would have been nice since you're bullish, right? It would have been nice to get a tag of this level here, get long, boom. That played out. So the target on Bitcoin could simply be last week's high. So it is lagging S&P 500 a little bit. SPY trying to make a fresh daily high. But that was a big move right there. So now, since you closed under support and then you took out the high of that candle, that makes this candle a trap. So that now makes this a potential buy area on the S&P 500 and this. So moving on into the week, from now on, people are going to be looking to buy right there potentially or down there. But remember this one, right? This didn't really make a trap, but you had a bullish engulfing here, and then the next week a bearish engulfing. But that was a news-driven thing there. So yeah, I mean, 36.95 and 35.92 are potential buying areas moving on into the week. Boom and boom. And we'll see if we get bullish continuation from there. If so, then we could probably target 39.05 on the pullback into this area. If this is a selling opportunity, it's a difficult trade to make. I'm just going to be frank and honest. I think you would probably see it get back up to the old swing low. You made fresh bear market lows and instantly almost. Well, not instantly, to be fair, it traded down there all week. There's only one conclusion to make from that. There's your swing low. That is your bear market low. You took it out on the 27th of September, then again on the 28th, then again on the 30th, and then it made a fresh bear market low on the yesterday. That happened during the Asian session. You pushed down, made a fresh bear market low, and that was the place to be the buyer. And people were buying all week last week. They were probably buying under 36.38, or at the very least, closing short positions. You can get a bounce just based on short positions being closed. We won't know what happens until we get back down there. Those are the two levels moving forward to be potential buyers on the S&P 500 if you think that you're going to see bullish continuation. 36.95 and 35.92, spot 60. Well, both of them are spot 60. So, yeah, that's what it's going to look like moving on. Big, strong move. You liquidated this swing high. Next swing high to liquidate's 38.18. But this is an extended move in a period of 2 days. So if you want to sell it, wait till you get like divergence on the hourly time frame. Because what'll likely happen is if you don't make a new high today, you'll probably just trade down a little bit and then like range bound off support. And then tomorrow you could see another stab up, liquidate today's high, put that divergence in on the hourly, then roll over. Hey, there's no divergence here. This thing is just bullish. So 15 minutes since I took the short trade, and price is still currently trading at the entry. That is not what I want to see. S&P 500 trying to make a fresh daily high. Let's see if it drops. Take profit at 1.5 to 1. Just go ahead and take profits if you get a move lower. If you take out hourly resistance or that hourly support zone, apologies, you want to go ahead and start scaling out of the position because you're clearly against this monstrosity of a bullish day. So people are going to continue to be buying this, expecting higher and higher prices today. Everybody's bullish, I guess. Boom, gotta run. Thanks, Heath. You're welcome. Thank you for being here, man. Heath, AORR. Yeah, we can go look at it, and then we'll get ready and wrap it up. AORR. I don't have nothing. I don't know if is that a ticker, or are you just... Or is that an allegory? SPX. Pushing again. Look at that volume. I told you your point of control was going to shift, and it did in a big way. A lot of volume coming in at 376 spot 80. Lots of volume coming in there. We got 4-hour support on the DXY, 110.60. Heath, so you're going to add to your hodl position of Tesla around 240 if it holds support? Or are you waiting for... Oh, well, no, I'm not buying stocks just yet. I probably won't start adding to my hodl portfolio until the Fed becomes a little bit more dovish, at least. Right? Because, like, as long as they're balls to the wall, hawkish, then I don't really want to be a buyer. Will that mean I will miss out on, some opportunity? Probably, but at the same time, like, I know it's a Fed-driven market, and we're seeing a lot of speculation occur on a lot of things. So right now, for me, just isn't the time. So when the Fed starts to pivot a little bit, and I don't mean full on become a complete 100% dove either. I'm not talking about waiting for quantitative easing. I just mean I need to see inflation slowed enough for the Fed to say, all right, I think we're in a good spot here. Let's hold it and see what happens. Then, yeah, go buy your favorite stocks, especially the ones that are usually good stocks to own but just got really beat up in the bear market. I'll go add to my portfolio then. Right now, I'm just day trading in and out, right? Just boom, 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 boom. Making more cash to ultimately then up the portfolio. But I can't do that until at least I get at least that one meeting where Powell comes out and says, yeah, I think we got it under control. So we're going to, we're not going to like lower interest rates, but we're not going to hike anymore. Something like that. Yeah, I'll start adding. Then I'll start adding. I shorted gold now. It's at daily and weekly support. Let's go look at gold. You don't want to short it if it's at daily and weekly support. You want to be a buyer at support. Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Last week's support. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, everything's getting a big move because the dollar's coming off a little bit, right? But I mean, the trend has been beautiful. You're also in a trend line resistance as well. I mean, if you use the bullish wick, you're going to be above it. If you use the bearish one, you're not. So that's your choice, your call. Like I said, trend lines are very subjective in the way people draw them and the way people look at them. And sometimes the way TradingView plots them, because I can put it on the weekly and then go into the intraday chart and it'll be 5 foot off the high or 10 foot in the low. It doesn't match. I don't know if that's just a me thing or if that's a TradingView thing. It's a new computer, so it's got to be TradingView. Brand new computer. But yeah, you're into weekly resistance or old weekly support there. You actually did test the resistance right there. Right there. That's going to be old week or the weekly resistance and daily supply. Beautiful test of daily supply there. It's just, it's a bullish rip. You know what I mean? But you can see rip your face off rallies in a bear market. The selling is nice and methodical. Just down, 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 sideways, down, down, and then up. All the way back up to supply in 5 days. Boom. Up. So I like your positioning. I don't know if the trade will work, but that's a high probable area. I like it. I like it. You're learning. Good job, Andrew. Freaking love it, man. I freaking love it. Like I said, I don't know that it will work, but that is a high probable area to put on a short entry. Love it. The point goes on the beginning of the time frame. Okay, wait. The point goes on the beginning of the time frame. So if you put a trend line on the daily support, you need to then go into the hourly and adjust it for it to be in the right place. Okay, I got you. That makes sense. Thank you for telling me that. I did not know. But I don't use them very often anyways. When I put a trend line on the chart or talk about divergences or head and shoulders and all that stuff, I'm just doing it so that way you guys, it's there, right? I see it. So does everybody else. That's the only reason I'm discussing it. I don't take trades based off of that stuff. I don't need a trend line to tell me that the thing is bearish, right? It is, to be fair, above the 50. But you did that once over here, and that ended up being a very long, drawn-out fake out. But as of right now, technically, one could look to buy support on any pullback because you are above the 50. That means you're going to be well above the 21 as well. And you are right there. But remember also that this is a trending indicator. So if price isn't trending, that indicator will get you screwed up. If you're in a choppy range bound market and you're trying to use moving averages to base trading decisions, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt bad simply because it's a trending indicator. You need a trend for that indicator to work. But just to be fair, let's see where the 50 is and the 100 and the 200 EMAs are. Yeah, you're coming into the 50 as well, which is a good place to look for pullbacks and selling opportunities. So I like your positioning. I do. I like it. And gold did just break down out of a double top formation on the weekly. So, I mean, it's extended. No, you're extended. You hit almost oversold down there, but you did the right thing. You waited for a pullback before you became a seller. And it's a 2-week pullback. Not bad. So I guess you're taking the short gold trade is no different than us taking the short Ethereum trade, pretty much at the same level. But here is your head and shoulder. I mean, not your head and shoulders, sorry. Your double top neckline is there. You did break down. So, I mean, this has been all over Twitter as well, but we discussed it a long time ago. You do get measured moves off that, but not always. Everything works in trading, just not all the time. So if you do get a measured move from it, then people are going to be looking for prices to get as low as $12.82. So I would just call it $1,300. That would be a measured move off of that formation if it does end up playing out. And if it does, I like your positioning. I hope it works out for you. I hope you get in this. I hope it stays, just starts to fall and keeps falling for months. I hope it works out for you big time. I hope it makes your year for being patient enough to wait on that. That's good stuff. I like it. It's the same as everything else today and yesterday, just uber bullish. But, I mean, we're down into hourly support here, or back down to the 8-hour. Hourly support is there. So this is the 8-hour level. I want to make sure that it's the same. I didn't move it. Yeah, it's 8-hour res. So I want to see it close under that. Probably got an hour and 32. Yeah, an hour and 32 minutes left on the close. So in an hour and 32 minutes, if you're above that, then I would probably think about exiting that short position. That's just me. That's just me. But we'll see if it works out today. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions that I missed. I'm still holding short. I guess it's just an insurance premium. Yeah, but if you're losing money curation, you really got to think about that. I mean, there's an opportunity cost for sitting in a sideways market. There's also an opportunity cost for, sitting in a loss. I don't know if you're in a loss or not, but I hope you're still holding the short from Tuesday. That's cool if you are, because up until today, we didn't see any reason to exit that position yet. You know what I'm saying? Not yet. The fact that it couldn't break down was starting to annoy me a little bit, but that's it. It's just unrealized P&L that I was risking anyhow. So nothing major. The dollar's not bouncing as hard as I would have liked it to off of that support. And this is still, what time? 10 o'clock you got up there, and it is 10:30 now, and you're still there. Not my favorite. I don't like seeing that. Tons of volume come in there. Tons of it. And it is sell volume too. Lots of sellers up there. Well, it just moved on me. What do we call it? We'll call that 376.80. 8. Tons of sellers there. Yeah. We'll see if it works out. We're in it now, so we'll hold it until it works or until we get stopped out, one of the two. All right. You guys have a fantastic day. I ran through every question. There wasn't really, nothing. So we're going to wrap it up. Y'all have a great day. If I missed answering one of your questions or whatnot, well, let's go ahead and just do this. Recap. We were waiting for a liquidation above the high. We got it. I took the sell position once we made this big wick. I entered a sell short. I have my stops resting above this now new daily high at 1366. 1366 is where my stop loss is at. So in a sense, this is what my position looks like. There. So if I get under hourly support, that'll be more than a 2-to-1 risk to reward. I'll go ahead and take profits, and then I'll move my stop to break even. All right. Very close to being a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So yeah, looks like it might be a profitable trade. I still don't like this. I want to see this just start tumbling down. Otherwise, I'm going to expect a fresh high of day. And in that case, you're likely to get stopped out. So if you took the short trade with me, you really want to think about managing that position, potentially taking some of that money off and moving the stop down. You don't have to move the stop all the way to break even if you don't want to, but just manage the position by eliminating your risk. Get your risk off the table so that way you're just risking unrealized P&L. That's always a good place to be because your P&L grew, right? Your P&L grew, and that's what you're trying to do on a daily basis. And you will be able to do on a daily basis the longer you listen to what I got to say. But anyways, y'all have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, as always, drop them down in the comment section, as I do read every single one of them, even the spam bots. Just ignore them, right? Ignore all that stuff. You guys already know to do that. But anyways, have a great day. Make sure you all trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading.